Hey guys, so it's been a while, but finally I'm back. And I finish university for the year next week, so I should have a lot more time. Phew. Anyway, okay, that would be my phone. I can't respond. Sorry. Bloody seagulls. The amount of times I've tried to record this video and it's either been that my webcam has come up with an error or it's been seagulls. I can't win. Damn you, good weather. Damn you. Anyway, since I've got Sims videos pre-recorded, but I still need to do narration and stuff to go along with them. Today I thought I'd go back to a story that I hinted at in my 400 subscribers video, but I thought it's time I kind of went more in depth, let's say. The inspiration behind this was that I, as a creative and professional writing student, if you don't know, that's what I do for my life, as if I haven't said it enough. So one of the modules I do is called Writing from Life, and it's pretty much just writing the most honest stuff that you will ever write. So I thought I'd go back, and this is my story about bullying. So, story time, guys. Yeah, I was bullied / sexually harassed. So, let's get into it. So, I started going to a performing arts class. I'm not going to name it because that would be slander. Well, they'd claim it was slander, but I speak the truth. I went to this performing arts school since the age of about 8, and it was wonderful to begin with because it really helped with my confidence, even though I'm still an extremely shy person. It actually made me think, oh, I'm actually fairly alright at this acting lark. I never really liked the singing and dancing parts because I can't sing and dancing is not my forte. I have the rhythm God gave a teaspoon, so I'm fairly limited. It was only when I think I was either 13 or 14, I can't really remember, that there was one particular boy who seemed to have it out for me. Now, this boy had been there since I started, and I think he'd been with them since year dot. Let's call him Sven. Let's not use his actual name, let's use Sven, okay? Sven had been at this performing arts school as long as I had. But it was only when I was 13 or 14 he seemed to decide that he had it out for me. I don't know what had happened. Maybe it was because he was still extremely short. I don't know, little man syndrome, it's a thing, apparently. He decided he wanted to assert himself, and the way that he decided to do that was to target me. Now, I didn't have many friends at this place. The one friend I did have was off talking to someone else and had befriended someone else who really didn't like me for some reason. I don't know why, I'm lovely. So I've been told. So I didn't have her. And he decided to target me for that reason. It wouldn't have been so bad if it had just been him. But he managed to encourage 2 other boys to join in on the act, and one of them, we'd been friends since he was born, because I was born first, just saying. He'd encouraged them to join in with him. So at this time, I had never felt more alone than at this moment. I had no friends and I was forced to go to this school where I was getting continually bullied. I mentioned that I fell over on stage and exposed myself to the audience. The reason that happened was because he tripped me over. He'd barge into me, just the stuff he would say to me was insane. He would say that I was ugly, unattractive, stupid. Everything he could throw at me, he decided to. And being so young and having no self-esteem, I believed him. Like, even now, I don't believe if people say that I'm attractive, because something in my head always goes back to him for some reason, telling me that I was unattractive and stupid and would never get anywhere, because I was too fat, because I was too sweaty, because I stank, all things like that. And those are things that have stuck with me way into my adult life. Well, technically I'm an adult. I can't speak. An adult. That's what I am. These are all things that have really stayed with me and had a lasting impact on me, which I still don't know why I let him have such an impact on me. But that was kind of what was going on. I did have one friend, Danny, thank you so much, who, once I started hanging around with him, it got a little bit better. Mainly because Danny was about 6'2", and he was midget. Politically correct term. Please don't demonetize me. Well, you're gonna demonetize me anyway because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, so I'm not getting money for this video anyway. Them's the breaks. Anyway, this escalated massively when we did our Lambda exam. For those of you who don't know what Lambda exams are, they're like acting exams. Our performing arts school did Lambda exams every year. And essentially you had to perform a piece and then they'd ask you some theory surrounding, like, one of the discussions I had to have with an examiner was whether Juliet from Romeo and Juliet was a spoilt teenager or whether she was a headstrong heroine. So I was already dreading this because I did not want to be part of their group. I didn't want to have to spend more time with Sven than I had to. Yeah, I'm gonna lean forward. Hello. I'm gonna invade your space. He knew how uncomfortable being around him made me. So it was while we were waiting to go into our exam, he decided to come up with the most disgusting things he could say to me. Keep in mind, I'm 13 or 14, can't quite remember. I was around that age. I was still extremely prudish, and even talking about sex made me feel very, very uncomfortable. So Sven decides to say, oh, he'd take me up the back and lick my pussy. He had both of the boys cheering him on. Instantly, I felt so uncomfortable in that moment, but there was nothing I could do. And to this day, that's why I think I didn't perform as well as I could have done. Seagull, shut up. Calm your tits. We still passed, but we only got a merit when I think we could have got a distinction. But at the time, I was so uncomfortable and it was just awkward. I didn't want to go into this exam with him. After what he said to me, I didn't want to be around him. So, I didn't tell my teachers what had happened. I told my mum. And my mum told my dad. My dad, of course, was not exactly thrilled with this revelation. Especially someone talking like that to his only daughter. He drove me to drama school the next week, because my Lambda exam was on a Saturday, I think. He decided to drive me on the Wednesday, and I genuinely thought if he saw him, he was going to beat the shit out of him. He was fuming. He didn't see him, luckily. Otherwise he would have beaten him up. But he told the head of this drama school exactly what had happened. And I was called out to, corroborate what had happened. And apparently one of the guys that was in his group, who had been friends with me since he was born, had been complaining to her about the bullying that he'd been subject to at the hands of Sven. So I told her all of this in confidence. The next term, he was still there. Everything he'd done to me and to this other guy, and he was still there. And I maintained that I didn't want to tell her because I knew it would make no difference. He was part of the agency. He'd worked before, so he was making them money. Whereas I was not part of the agency because I wanted to focus on academics. So I wasn't as important. I was expendable. He was more important than I was. Therefore, they were just going to let him off. It felt like. And I was kind of devastated. Not going to lie. It was only the term after that he left. But by this point, I just felt so disillusioned with it. He'd made me hate acting. He'd made me hate this place. And I don't hate anyone, but I would probably say Sven is the one person in this world that I utterly despise. So I only stayed maybe a term or two after he left because I just wanted to get out of it. I'd missed lessons, which I'd never done before, and I just was not interested in being part of the family of this performing arts school anymore. So I did my final exam, my final Lambda exam, solo, and off I went to focus on A-levels, but really it was because I felt that the situation had been handled so badly. I didn't want to be a part of this school anymore. I didn't want to be a part of this club anymore. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. And I felt like the only reason that he'd left was because my friend had complained. Because my friend was part of the agency as well. So, pretty much, I left. And there's a particular shop that I know that Sven works in, near where I live. And I will not go in there on point of principle because I don't even want to come into contact with him. And the worst thing is, he was friends with a lot of the girls I went to school with. These were girls who, well, I had a reputation for being very sweet and innocent. What can I say? Maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. You never know. But these girls were quite protective of me. And if they'd have known what Sven had done to me and how he had made me feel, maybe things would have been so much more different. But then that would have relied on me telling them, which I didn't have the strength to do. And I do have this habit of putting the blame on myself when things go wrong. But at the end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong. It was Sven. He decided to bully me. That was his choice. And yeah, it did damage me quite significantly. I still don't believe when anyone tells me that I'm attractive, that I'm intelligent. I just don't believe them. And even when people say I smell nice, I don't believe them. I am so overly paranoid about the way that I smell that I will heavily perfume myself, deodorant myself, body spray myself to make sure that I don't smell. So I probably smell like the inside of the Body Shop or the inside of Lush. I don't know. Nearly fainted the last time I smelled Lush. So anyway, that's my story time about my bullying experience. Let me know down below if you want me to do more of these kind of story time videos. Granted, I've lived a fairly sheltered life, so there's probably not much that I can talk about, but I have a few stories, so let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye, my little chiquitas. Bye!